to also thank Dawn Sweeney and everyone at the National Restaurant Association for having me here. It is a pleasure for me to be with you all. So today, I'm going to talk about food, which is something that all of you here today know a little bit about. Together, you represent 40% of the nearly 1 million restaurants in the United States, from the biggest chains to the smallest diners. You know what Americans like to eat and what they don't. You've seen how the ingredients we put in our bodies affect the way we feel and the way we feel about ourselves. And you also understand the unique role that food and restaurants especially play in our own lives and in the life of our nation. Restaurants have always been places to celebrate a special occasion or mark an important milestone, to bond with new friends and grow closer as a family. They provide a service to our communities unlike any other. And even as tastes and customs have changed over time, restaurants remain an incredibly dynamic part of our American story. And today, 1 out of every $2 spent on food in this country goes towards meals outside the home. And that's double what it was just 50 years ago. And 1/3 of all meals today are eaten in restaurants. So it's clear that eating out has become part of our American way of life. And while restaurants are still places where we go to mark a special occasion, to celebrate a good report card, an anniversary, a job well done, restaurants aren't just for those who can afford to splurge anymore. Instead, they've grown to fit every lifestyle and every budget. And our eating habits have evolved over time as well, both in restaurants and at home, but not always in ways that are good for our health. And that's another reason I wanted to talk to you today about an issue that is near and dear to my heart, not just as First Lady, but as a mother. And that is the epidemic of childhood obesity in America today. Now, I know you're all familiar with the statistics, how 1 in 3 children in this country is overweight or obese. And you know the consequences for their health, from hypertension and diabetes to heart disease and even cancer. And I know you're all aware of the economic impact, the billions of dollars we spend every year treating obesity-related conditions, costs that you pay in the form of rising health insurance premiums. So it's clear that we're facing a problem that is really big. And it's also clear that this problem has a whole range of different causes. Our kids are spending less time outside, more time on the couch in front of the TV, video games, the internet. At school, gym classes, recess, they've been eliminated or shortened. Portion sizes in this country have ballooned. In some areas, families are having a tougher time getting regular access to fresh produce. And kids these days are consuming more calories and eating more fat and sugar than ever before. And that's why earlier this year we launched Let's Move. This is a nationwide campaign with a simple but ambitious goal. We want to solve the problem of childhood obesity in a generation so that kids born today can reach adulthood at a healthy weight. And Let's Move is about attacking this problem from all different angles. It's about giving parents the information and the resources they need to make healthy decisions for their families. It's about giving grocery stores, helping them to locate in underserved areas so that every community has access to fresh and nutritious food. It's about getting healthier food into our schools. It's about helping our kids become more active, not just in school, but at home. But here's the thing, that even if we give parents all the information they need and we improve school meals and build brand new supermarkets on every corner, none of that matters if, when families step into a restaurant, they can't make a healthy choice. And the truth is that while restaurants are offering more options and families take advantage of them more often, they aren't always the healthiest choices. Research has shown that kids consume more saturated fat and less fiber and calcium when they eat out. And the meals they eat at restaurants have twice as many calories as the ones they eat at home. Now, as parents, we know that many of our kids aren't as healthy and active as they should be, and we desperately want to do things differently. But when stores and restaurants don't offer healthy options, or when parents don't have the information to make the best choices for their families, that's easier said than done. And as America's restaurant owners, you're responsible for 1/3 of the calories our kids get on a daily basis. The choices you make determine what's listed on the menus, what's advertised on billboards, and what's served on our plates. And your decisions about how a dish is prepared, what goes into it, and where it's placed on the menu, that can have a real impact on the way people eat. And that's why we need your help. And we need your help now. Because when you see research showing that obese toddlers already display some warning signs for heart disease, it's clear that we just don't have the time to waste. And that's why I've been so pleased to hear about what some of you are doing already, both in working with us and on your own. Here at the NRA, you've developed the Food and Healthy Living Initiative to give restaurants a strong foundation for making healthy changes. You've launched a website, healthydiningfinder.com, to help consumers identify healthy menu options in their area. You're keeping your members up to date with the latest information and statistics about efforts to address childhood obesity, and you're working with other groups in the industry to meet the goal of doubling the amount of produce used in the food industry over the next 10 years. And across the country, individual restaurants and chains are also focusing on our children's health. Not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it also makes sense for their bottom line. Right now, many restaurants are making a point to offer fresh produce and healthy choices aimed at kids and adults. Others are serving more low-fat dishes, whole grain breads, fruit on the side. Some are even offering kid-sized portions of the meals they serve on the main menu. And chefs across the country are partnering with local schools to help them make healthy choices. But as positive as these examples are, the reality is it's just not enough. Together, we have to do more. We have to go further. And we need your help to lead this effort. Now, what I do know is that in the restaurant industry, creativity is your lifeblood. It's what sets you apart from the competition, and it keeps customers coming back for more. And today, I am asking you to use that creativity to rethink the food you offer, especially dishes aimed at young people, and to help us make the healthier choice the easier choice. First, it's important to reduce the number of empty calories that our families are consuming, calories that have no nutritional benefit whatsoever. And believe me, I know this is easier said than done. After all, we as humans, we are programmed to crave sugary, fatty, salty foods. And as people who work to meet those needs, I know it's tempting to respond by creating products that are sweeter, richer, and saltier than ever before. But here's the catch. See, feeding those cravings doesn't just respond to people's natural desires, it actually helps shape them. The more these foods people eat, the more they're accustomed to that taste, and after a while, those unhealthy foods become a permanent part of their eating habits.